The first picture has been released of Martin Clunes. This is uncanny. Have a look at this. Martin Clunes is set to play disgraced paedophile former BBC newsreader Huw Edwards in a new Channel 5 drama, which will tell the story of how the Sun newspaper exposed Huw's double life. But is it a bit too soon, Nadia? Is it a bit too soon?
Well, you know, it's really tricky, this, isn't it? Because, of course, we know we are fascinated by this. You know, he was in all of our hearts and minds.
The man who told us the Queen had died.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know somebody who lived close to the family and actually worked with some of his children. And the area where he lives isn't that far from me, and was often seen out on his bike and very lovely with people. And, you know, I think the first thing I thought about this was those children and his
kids.
Wife. His kids.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. It was like, this is so soon. Imagine, you know, how this
Do you think they've already been through the mill?
Yeah, but I don't
Putting it on the front pages of the papers again, this story.
So that's what I'm not necessarily saying we shouldn't make it, but that was my first thought. I was mortified.
To a 6-month suspended sentence after pleading guilty to 3 charges of making indecent images of children. So I mean, I mean, he was Huw Edwards, etc. But at the end of the day, you know, that's a criminal conviction.
But that's the thing, you think of those two sides. You think of those children and you think of his children, you think all the ramifications of all the other people.
What do you think, Senator?
Well, you do, yeah, but I was going to say, I think it's incredible that they've dramatised this so quickly, because usually there's the documentary, there's the podcast, there's, like, all these different deep dives into these exposés, and what's happening now, we're dramatising it, which means we can slightly fictionalise or speed up some of the events, which means it might be more palatable, I say that, as a drama to be able to explain, because I don't think this is actually his personal story. I think it's more of a professional look.
It's how they
found this.
Well, no,
story.
it's also a mix. It is also a mix.
It?
It's telling the story of how he groomed a 17-year-old. I just hope that it is able to bring some understanding, and we haven't seen it, so hopefully it does, and it's not just on
What's your understanding of what, Kate?
Well, I tell you what makes me think of, and this is kind of difficult, and I am not making any apologies for anyone who has been found guilty of these kind of crimes. But a million years ago, I worked with a guy who was subsequently convicted of similar offences. And he was part of our social circle. He was fun. You know...
Obviously, before you knew any of that side of him.
Years and years and years, and I was in my early 20s, because it didn't enter your head. But I do think back when I see that, because never in my wildest dreams, and it was years later that a friend sent me a newspaper clipping, and I was like, oh, yeah, but I couldn't believe it. But this was somebody I liked and enjoyed his company.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying about Huw Edwards as well. It's not that I forgive what he did. Of course not. Horrendous.
No, I have to make that clear. Yeah.
Absolutely. And those victims were also children, and that's a disgrace. But nobody is just one thing. And when you think about the ripple effect, do the people involved, all the people involved in this case, are all of them happy about it already being put on television?
But it's interesting.
I mean, we don't know anything about... I don't think you do, about how the family feels about it. You know, there may be a few members of his family who think this is completely justified.
But what do we learn from it other than the facts?
Their eyes.
What do we learn from a dramatisation, as you so perfectly put, that can be skewed a little way?
I don't think.
Why we don't need to learn.
As a cynical actress, though, you know, from the producers, they will no doubt try to say, we want to shine a light on this and shine a light on that. What they want is ratings and drama.
Yeah.
That is really what they
But that's what society is eating up. Look at all the exposés that have been out there. They've done the Savile one, they've done the Pan Am one.
I think the Savile one was different.
But what we're also eating up at the moment is you're either a goodie or a baddie. You're on this side or you're on that side. That's the way that we have kind of arranged ourselves now.
I think with children and young people, you're just a baddie, though. I think that...
Yeah, but going back to Denise,
just because you're nice in the corner
says,
shop doesn't mean that you're not harbouring a darkness in you while you are being... To me, if you are abusing or grooming a child and you are being nice to Florrie in the corner shop, you know that you're going to do that tonight. So to me, there is only a dark side.
But what about Florrie? What about her
children.
feelings? She's been she's been admiring. When we admire our heroes and then they become villains, it's very hard for us to change our thoughts, the way that we used to think about.
It is.
So many people that we
because you've invested in this person.
Exactly.
You're allowed to grieve it.
I like them. I like their acting.